Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today I want to talk about something that took me a lifetime to understand. Lessons that were always right in front of me, but I was too busy, too distracted, or too proud to see. It took me 50 years to realize that life has unshakable laws, principles that will never bend to suit our comfort, but will break us if we ignore them. These are the laws that determine our peace, our happiness, our relationships, and our success. Some I learned through triumph, others through heartbreak, and many through painful mistakes. And if I had understood them earlier, I could have saved myself years of confusion, regret, and wasted effort. Today, I'm here not just to share these laws, but to remind you that wisdom isn't just about what you know. It's about what you live by. Because life will teach you the same lesson over and over again until you finally pay attention. And the sooner you embrace these truths, the sooner you'll see your life transform. You attract what you tolerate. A truth that seems simple at first, but carries a depth that shapes the course of our entire lives. Every day, we set the tone for how others treat us and how life responds to us, not just by what we desire, but by what we accept. If you consistently allow disrespect, neglect, or mediocrity into your life, whether in relationships, work, or personal habits, you silently communicate to the world that this is okay. And the world will always take you at your example, not at your intentions. People don't just respond to your words, they respond to your boundaries, your actions, and the standards you hold yourself to. If you keep showing up for people who don't show up for you, you teach them that your time and presence require no respect. If you keep settling for less than you deserve, because it's easier than demanding more, you teach life that you're willing to survive instead of thrive. The truth is, tolerating something doesn't just happen in one big moment. It happens in small compromises, quiet moments of self-betrayal, and choices we justify for the sake of peace or comfort. We convince ourselves it's not a big deal when a friend constantly cancels on us. We shrug it off when a partner disrespects our values. We tell ourselves it's just whole life is when a job drains our spirit. But over time, these little tolerances compound into a life filled with things we never actually wanted. You may think you're being patient or kind, but in reality, you're allowing patterns to take root that will be far harder to remove later. Every standard you set acts like a filter, keeping out what doesn't align with who you are and what you value. Lower that standard even slightly, and you open the door to things that chip away at your confidence, happiness, and self-worth. The most dangerous part is that you can get used to it. What once felt uncomfortable becomes normal. What once felt like a compromise becomes your default. Before you know it, you've built a life that's not an expression of your dreams, but a reflection of your tolerances. The principle works in reverse too. If you raise your standards, If you stop tolerating what drains or diminishes you, you'll start attracting different kinds of people, opportunities, and experiences. This doesn't happen overnight because life often tests your resolve. The moment you decide not to accept something anymore, you may find yourself surrounded by the very challenges you're trying to rise above. But if you remain firm, you'll start to see the old fall away and the new make its way in. You'll find that people who truly value you will rise to meet your expectations, and those who can't or won't will naturally drift out of your life. This is not about arrogance or thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to live in a way that contradicts it. When you respect yourself enough to set clear boundaries, you give others permission to do the same. You become a mirror that reflects back what's possible when someone refuses to settle for less than they deserve. And it's not just about relationships with others, it's also about the relationship you have with yourself. What habits do you tolerate in your own life? Do you allow yourself to procrastinate, speak negatively to yourself, neglect your health, or break promises you've made to yourself? Every time you tolerate these behaviors, you reinforce a belief that you're not worthy of discipline, care, or commitment. Changing what you tolerate often requires courage because it means facing discomfort. It may mean walking away from relationships you've invested years in, leaving a job that feels secure but unfulfilling, or saying no to opportunities that don't align with your vision. It may mean standing alone for a while, trusting that the space you're creating will eventually be filled with something better. The short-term pain of change is real, but the long-term cost of staying the same is far greater. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. You teach life what to give you by what you settle for. And if you want different results, you have to stop sending mixed messages. Stop telling yourself you want peace, but choosing chaos. Stop saying you want love, but accepting disrespect. Stop claiming you want success, but tolerating laziness or distraction. Your reality will always rise or fall to meet the standards you set for it. The moment you decide that something is no longer acceptable is the moment your life begins to shift. It's the point where you stop negotiating with your worth and start aligning your choices with your values. You may not be able to control every circumstance, but you can control what you permit to remain in your life. And as soon as you raise the bar, you'll find that the wrong things fall away and the right things have the space to arrive. Time is the most valuable currency we have, yet it is the one we often spend the most carelessly. Unlike money, once time is gone, it cannot be earned back, borrowed, or replaced. Every second that passes is a piece of our life we will never see again. We often tell ourselves that we have plenty of time, that tomorrow is always there, that one day we'll start living the life we want. But the truth is, Time is slipping through our fingers every moment, whether we acknowledge it or not. People guard their money, their possessions, and their image, yet they give away their time without a thought, spending hours on things and people that bring no value, no growth, and no joy. If we truly understood how limited our time is, we would treat it with the utmost respect and intentionality. Time is more than hours on a clock. It is the measure of our life story. Every choice we make about how to use our time shapes the life we are building. Waste a year, and you don't just lose days, you lose the opportunities, the memories, the progress that could have been made in that year. Too many of us live as though life is a rehearsal, thinking we can make the mistakes now and get it right later. But there is no rehearsal. This is the one performance, and every act counts. The sad reality is that we only recognize the value of time when we start running out of it, when we see how quickly seasons change, how people we love are here one day and gone the next, how opportunities we delayed vanish and never come back. Every time we say yes to something, we are saying no to something else. If you spend your days on distractions, you are saying no to growth, to deep relationships, to pursuing the dreams in your heart. Time has a cost, and the cost is always paid in the currency of your life. That is why the most successful, fulfilled people are not just disciplined with their money or talents, but with their time. They know that every day is an investment, and they choose to invest in what matters most. If you fill your days with things that drain you, you'll find your life filled with regret. But if you fill your days with things that build you, strengthen you, and align with your purpose, you'll find your life rich in meaning and fulfillment. The danger is that modern life is filled with countless ways to waste time without realizing it. Social media scrolls, endless entertainment, gossip, and mindless routines can swallow hours before we even notice. We tell ourselves we're just relaxing or just catching up, but in reality, we are trading precious hours for things that will have no lasting value in our lives. And the problem is not just in wasting time. It's in forgetting that time is a limited resource. If you had only 1 year left to live, would you spend it doing what you're doing now? If you had only 1 month, how would you reorder your priorities? Those questions force us to face a truth we often avoid. We don't know how much time we have, but it is never as much as we think. Being intentional with time doesn't mean every minute must be spent working or striving. Rest, joy, connection, and play are all valuable uses of time when they are chosen deliberately and aligned with your values. What matters is that you are living on purpose, not by accident. Too many people drift through life in a fog of routine, only waking up when something jolts them. A health scare, a loss, a major change. But the wise learn to wake themselves up every day, asking, am I spending my time in a way that I'll be proud of at the end of my life? That question alone can transform the way you live. Guarding your time also means guarding the people and situations you give it to. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some relationships drain years from your life without adding anything in return. Some commitments eat away at your joy and energy, but give nothing back. Every yes you give should be weighed carefully, because every yes costs you a piece of your life that you can never get back. This is why learning to say no is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. A strong no to the wrong thing is a strong yes to the right thing. The truth is, time is the ultimate equalizer. No matter who you are, where you live, or what you have, you get the same 24 hours in a day as everyone else. The difference lies in how you use them. Some people use those hours to grow, to create, to love deeply, to build something lasting. Others let them slip away in distractions and excuses. And in the end, the gap between those two lives is measured entirely in how time was spent. You cannot manage life until you learn to manage time. You cannot build the future you want until you prioritize the present you have. Every dream you have requires time to bring to life. And every delay you make in taking action is time slipping away forever. That's why the most important question you can ask yourself daily is not, what do I have to do today? But, is what I'm doing today worth trading my life for? Your words create your world. A truth that has been proven in every culture. Faith and generation. The words you speak are not just sounds in the air, they carry power, influence, and the ability to shape the reality you live in. When you speak, you plant seeds, and those seeds grow into the experiences, relationships, and opportunities that fill your life. Every conversation you have, every statement you make, even the things you whisper to yourself in private, are either building you up or tearing you down. Words can inspire, heal, and bring life, or they can destroy, discourage, and limit. Too often, people underestimate this truth, not realizing that they are living in the harvest of the words they've been speaking for years. What you consistently say about yourself becomes the identity you live out. If you repeatedly tell yourself you're not good enough, that you're unlucky, that nothing ever works for you, you begin to act in ways that confirm those beliefs. You'll shy away from opportunities, you'll expect failure, and you'll even sabotage your own success without realizing it. On the other hand, if you speak words of courage, faith, and determination over your life, you train your mind to look for solutions instead of problems, to take chances instead of shrinking back, to keep going instead of giving up. Your inner dialogue becomes the blueprint for your outer reality. The same principle applies to how you speak to and about others. Words can strengthen a relationship or break it apart. A single careless comment can plant a seed of doubt or resentment that grows over time, while a thoughtful word of encouragement can give someone the strength to keep going in their darkest hour People remember the words you speak to them far longer than you think, and they often define how they see themselves. If you consistently criticize, you create an environment of defensiveness and insecurity. If you consistently affirm and encourage, you create an environment of trust, respect, and growth. The words you speak also shape the atmosphere around you. Have you noticed how being around someone who complains all the time drains your energy, while being around someone who speaks with optimism and hope lifts your spirit? Words carry energy. They can shift the mood of a room, change the direction of a meeting, or alter the course of a day. When you choose your words carefully, you are not just controlling your speech. You are controlling the energy and culture of your environment. What many people don't realize is that your words don't have to be spoken out loud to have an effect. The silent thoughts you rehearse in your mind are just as powerful. Your self-talk is shaping the way you see the world and the way you respond to it. If your inner voice is full of criticism, fear, and doubt, you will live with hesitation and insecurity. But if your inner voice is full of encouragement, possibility, and belief, you will face challenges with confidence and creativity. This is why being intentional about the words you feed your mind is just as important as being intentional about the words you speak to others. Your words also have the power to call things into existence. When you speak about your goals and dreams as if they are possible and already on their way, you begin to align your actions with that belief. You start making choices that move you toward that vision, and you become more alert to opportunities that match it. This is not magic. It is the natural result of focusing your mind and energy on a clear outcome. By contrast, when you speak about your dreams as if they are impossible, you unconsciously look for reasons to give up on them. Your words set the direction of your life like a compass, guiding your steps whether you realize it or not. There is also a responsibility in how we speak about challenges. Life will bring difficulties, but how we talk about them will determine how we navigate them. If you speak about a challenge as if it is the end, you close yourself off from solutions. If you speak about it as a stepping stone or a lesson, you keep yourself open to growth and progress. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing words that acknowledge the problem, but focus on the possibility. The most resilient people are not those who never face hardship, but those who choose their words wisely in the middle of it. The discipline of mastering your words is not just about avoiding negativity. It's about intentionally using language to shape the future you want to see. Speak words of gratitude and you will see more to be grateful for. Speak words of faith and you will find strength to endure. Speak words of love and you will draw people closer. Words are tools, and like any tool, they can be used to build or to destroy. The difference lies in your awareness and your choice. Every time you open your mouth, you have the opportunity to create a better world for yourself and for those around you. The question is whether you will use that power carelessly or intentionally, whether you will speak life or speak limitation, whether your words will reflect the world you're in or the world you want to create. Peace is more important than being right. A truth that becomes clearer the more life experience you gain. So much of the stress, tension, and division in our lives comes not from genuine problems, but from our inability to let go of the need to win every argument, to prove every point, to defend our pride at all costs. We tell ourselves that we are standing for truth, but often we are simply standing for our ego. The desire to be right can turn even small disagreements into battles, and those battles can leave scars on relationships that could have been preserved if we had valued peace over victory. Being right might win you the moment, but choosing peace can preserve the relationship. Protect your mental and emotional health and create a space where understanding and growth are possible. There is a kind of power in walking away from conflict when you know you could win it. It's not weakness to choose peace. It's strength, because it requires self-control, humility, and perspective. Many people believe that if they don't fight for their position, they will lose respect or influence. But in reality, the opposite is often true. People remember how you made them feel far longer than they remember whether you were right. If you make someone feel heard, valued, and respected, even in disagreement, you often gain their trust and respect more than if you had simply overpowered them in an argument. The cost of always needing to be right is higher than we think. It can erode trust, push people away, and create a reputation of being combative or difficult. It can also drain you internally, because constant conflict consumes energy that could be invested in more meaningful pursuits. Peace, on the other hand, frees you from the endless cycle of proving yourself and allows you to focus on things that truly matter. It creates mental clarity, emotional balance, and a sense of stability that no argument can give. Choosing peace does not mean avoiding all difficult conversations or agreeing with things that are wrong. It means knowing when a discussion is worth engaging in and when it is not. It means understanding that not every opinion needs a response, and not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Some people are not looking for understanding, they are looking for a fight. In those cases, your silence and refusal to engage is not a sign of weakness. It is a refusal to waste your energy where it will do no good. Sometimes choosing peace means letting go of the last word. It means resisting the urge to send that extra message to prove your point. It means smiling and moving on when someone makes a small mistake that doesn't truly matter. It means prioritizing the bigger picture over the temporary satisfaction of winning. When you stop needing to be right all the time, you open yourself to learning. You become more willing to listen. to see different perspectives and to grow from them. Begin to value connection more than correction, and that shift changes the way people experience you. Peace also extends inward. The need to be right all the time is not just about external battles. It's about the internal unrest that comes from feeling the need to constantly justify yourself. When you learn to let go of that, you gain a deeper sense of self-assurance. You no longer need external validation to feel secure. You can rest in the knowledge that your worth is not determined by whether others agree with you. That kind of inner peace cannot be shaken by disagreement, criticism, or misunderstanding. There will be moments in life when you have to decide whether winning the argument is worth losing the relationship, whether being correct is worth creating a wedge between you and someone you care about, whether proving your point will bring real change or simply leave you feeling empty. In many cases, you'll find that keeping the peace allows you to revisit the conversation later in a calmer, more constructive way. Sometimes people can only hear your truth when they feel safe with you, and safety comes from peace, not from being overpowered. When you choose peace, you start to see how much lighter life becomes. You stop carrying the weight of every disagreement. You stop replaying arguments in your mind, thinking of what you should have said. You stop wasting hours in mental debates that lead nowhere. Instead, you focus on what brings joy, connection, and purpose. You realize that peace is not the absence of truth. It's the environment where truth can be spoken and received in love. It's a conscious choice to prioritize harmony even when you have the evidence, the logic, and the right to do otherwise. And the more you choose peace, the more you attract it into your life, because people who value peace create spaces where it can grow. Discipline beats motivation. A principle that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Motivation is a great spark. It can ignite excitement and give you energy to start something new, but it is fleeting. It comes and goes depending on your mood, circumstances, and environment. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It doesn't rely on how you feel in the moment. It relies on the commitment you've made to yourself. When motivation fades, discipline is what keeps you moving forward. Those who build their lives on motivation alone will always find themselves stopping and starting, chasing the next burst of inspiration, while those who rely on discipline will keep making progress regardless of how they feel. Discipline is about creating habits and systems that make it easier to do the right thing consistently. It's about removing the decision-making process from your daily actions so that what needs to be done simply gets done. When you train yourself to act out of discipline, you eliminate the endless debate in your mind about whether you feel like doing something. The truth is, most of the things that lead to success, whether in health, relationships, career, or personal growth, are not always exciting in the moment. They require effort, repetition, and sometimes boredom. Motivation won't carry you through those days, but discipline will. People often wait for the perfect moment to start working on their goals, believing they need to feel ready or inspired. The reality is, the perfect moment rarely comes, and waiting for motivation can become a form of procrastination. Discipline says, I do it because it's necessary, not because I feel like it. Over time, disciplined action creates results, and those results fuel new levels of motivation. It becomes a cycle, but it starts with discipline, not the other way around. Discipline also builds character. When you keep promises to yourself, you develop self-respect and trust in your own word. Every time you follow through on a commitment, even when it's hard, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and dependable. This mental strength becomes invaluable when life throws challenges your way. Motivation may crumble under pressure, but discipline holds firm because it's rooted in choice, not in emotion. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who are constantly inspired. They are the ones who show up every day, regardless of how they feel. Athletes train on days they're tired. Writers write on days they're uninspired. Leaders lead on days they're uncertain. Discipline removes the emotional filter from your actions and turns effort into a habit. When you operate from discipline, you do what needs to be done, whether you're tired, discouraged, or distracted. Developing discipline requires clarity. You have to know what you're working toward and why it matters to you. Without a clear purpose, discipline feels like punishment, but with a clear vision, discipline becomes the tool that bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. This is why many people fail to stay disciplined. They haven't tied their daily actions to a compelling reason. When your why is strong enough, you don't need to negotiate with yourself about whether to act. Discipline is also about setting boundaries with yourself, with your time, and with your environment. You have to remove distractions and temptations that pull you away from your goals. This might mean changing your routines, saying no to certain invitations, or creating systems that make it easier to choose the right action. Willpower is limited, but disciplined structures conserve it by reducing the number of choices you have to make. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds over time. What feels hard and unnatural at first becomes automatic the more you practice it. The early days of building discipline often require the most effort, but as you keep showing up, your habits start to run on autopilot. This frees up mental energy for higher level thinking and creativity because the basics are already handled. Discipline creates freedom because when you have control over your actions, you gain control over your results. Relying on motivation alone is like relying on the weather. It's unpredictable and out of your control. Discipline is like building a shelter. It protects your progress, no matter what's happening outside. You can't always control how you feel, but you can control what you do. And when you choose discipline consistently, you create a life that moves forward even when your emotions try to hold you back. Gratitude unlocks abundance, a truth that shifts the way you see the world and the way the world responds to you. Gratitude is more than simply saying thank you. When something good happens, it is a mindset, a way of seeing life that focuses on what you have rather than what you lack. When you choose to live with gratitude, you train your mind to recognize blessings, opportunities, and lessons, even in the middle of challenges. This shift in focus changes your emotional state, your decisions, and even the energy you project into the world. People who live with gratitude tend to attract more positive experiences, not because their lives are perfect, but because they are more attuned to seeing the good that already exists and building on it. Gratitude has the power to turn scarcity into sufficiency. Many people spend their lives chasing the next achievement, the next possession, or the next milestone, believing that happiness will come when they finally have enough. But without gratitude, no amount will ever feel like enough. You could have everything you thought you wanted and still feel empty if you never pause to appreciate it. Gratitude teaches you to slow down and acknowledge the beauty, provision, and opportunities that are already present. This doesn't mean you stop striving for more, but it ensures that your pursuit of more is built on a foundation of contentment rather than desperation. The practice of gratitude also changes the way you respond to difficulties. Life will always bring moments of loss, disappointment, and pain, but gratitude helps you find meaning in those moments. Instead of focusing solely on what went wrong, you begin to ask, what can I learn from this? What is this experience giving me that I wouldn't have had otherwise? This mindset doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you a sense of purpose in the middle of it. Even in hardship, there is something to be thankful for. A lesson learned, a new perspective gained, or the strength that comes from enduring. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. When you make a habit of expressing appreciation to the people in your life, you deepen the bond you share with them. Simple acts of acknowledgement can make someone feel seen, valued, and respected. Too often, we take the people closest to us for granted, assuming they know how much we care. But unspoken gratitude is often invisible. Expressing it regularly not only uplifts the other person, but also reminds you of the role they play in your life. Relationships thrive in an atmosphere of appreciation and wither in an atmosphere of neglect.